Coming up, we're going to make a start on the new Tamiya Comet. But as always, if you like what you see in this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in a sec. Hello and welcome back. Last year, me and a group of friends went to Bovington Tank Museum, and one of the guys in the group absolutely loves the Comet. And after a couple of years, I agreed that I'll make him one. So he's very kindly bought this and sent it to me, this A34 Comet from Tamiya. I'll not spend too much time going through it. Whilst I'm patterning on now, I'll just show you the sprues and things like that. It comes with a full colour, as you can see, full colour, fold out colour chart, but for God's sake, it's dark green. So like the whole tank, the whole tank is dark green. Sprue wise, it's really nice. It's not overly detailed. It's not over the top in terms of construction, so it's ideal for those intermediate people who want to take the step up to something a little bit more intricate than a 14 quid bog standard kit, or who've got this particular one in mind. I haven't built it, but I do hear issues with the likes of the Bronco models and stuff like that. Comet. So if you want to build a Comet, I wouldn't go any further than this. You can see from the sprues, standard Tamiya moulding, standard Tamiya sprues. Comes with link and length tracks, which are actually quite nice. Some nice crew figures. The detail on these, you can see, it's actually decent, and when I paint them up later, I was quite happy with them. Tamiya figures on some of the kits are very, very roby. Decals, a lot of tanks don't come with a great deal of decals, sorry. Keep getting called out on that one. The obligatory tech tips, bollocks. And then your instructions, which are standard Tamiya fare, black and white, colour callouts at the front. Nothing much to them. It's quite a straightforward tank. So, yeah, that's all that's really to it. Obviously, you'll be pleased to know, unlike a lot of the videos on the channel where I've kind of either lost the footage through stupidity or crazy stuff like that, or basically like the 109 sacked off and it's sitting on the corner of my workbench gathering dust, I've got, as they say in the adult film industry, it's in the can, the whole build from start to finish. So we're going to get it, hopefully, it'll still be out of focus and still be a bit naff around the edges, but hopefully a full build video from start to finish of the Tamiya A34 Comet. So let's get cracking. driver's hatch on these things is bloody massive, and to give the effect of there being somebody in there, a driver, I basically found an old Tamiya figure, not the greatest, chopped his arms and legs off so he would fit, and then very roughly painted his face, just generic skin tone, and then glued him home, so that when you look through the hatch, it looks like there's a fella in there driving the tank. Just to help with some wear and tear on the wheels, I took a very sharp scalpel blade and just made some nicks and chips in the rubber of the road wheels, and then just to smooth them out I used some Tamiya extra thin, just so it would get rid of any really sharp edges or blatantly obvious knife cuts. Because this kit comes with the link and length tracks, I'll probably be making them off it, or I did make them off it, and so basically I left the side skirts loose and held them in place with some blue tack or poster putty or whatever you want to say if you're across the pond, so that I can remove them and take them off. I later found out that it was pretty pointless in doing this and just glued them in anyway, but for the time being I just held them in loosely with some blue tack. In case you're wondering what's happened to my hands, don't worry, I haven't murdered anybody. There was an incident with some food colouring. It took us nearly a week to get it off, but it's fine now. So with the hull now attached, I'm just blue tacking the wheels into place for the link and length tracks. I haven't glued them in or anything because I'm not quite sure at this point how I'm going to go about painting them. Then what you can do is put some masking tape down on the desk, sticky side up obviously, and that'll allow you a nice sticky surface where you can hold the track lengths. You can do this for individual track lengths as well, in place where you can kind of marry them up and they're not going to go dropping about all over the place. And then once you're happy with what you've got, maybe do about half to a third at a time, stick some Tamiya extra thin in all those gaps and give it about 20 minutes to half an hour to start to go off. But what you don't want to do is kind of leave it overnight or anything like that. You want to just so the plastic's melted and sticky enough so that they don't fall apart but then become malleable. And then, after about 25 minutes, take a Mark 1 toothpick and slide it underneath the tracks and release them from the masking tape. What you're looking for, like I say, is something that's malleable and that the glue started to dry, but it hasn't gone totally off and gone rock hard, and nor is it sticky. If it's tacky when you touch it, just lay it back down, give it another 10 minutes or so. It should be bendable, gently, obviously. You don't want to go snapping them. Then, once you're happy with how that feels, basically apply them to the tank as per the instructions. And speaking of the instructions, Tamiya actually provide a nice one-to-one printout of them in the instruction book. So you can do it on there if you want, if you're a bit scared of getting the glue on the model, or once you've done it and conformed them, you can lie them on there and add a bit more glue to get them that little bit more set. after I'd done the initial pass of the XF61 dark green, I added a little drop of it's Mr. Hobby 413 yellow and a drop of XF57 buff from Tamiya, just to kind of lighten the paint whilst keeping that nice warm tone to it. And then I went back across the whole model, a little bit closer to the centre of each panel, judd remodeling action just to try and get some nice panel fading going. And then once I'd done that, I repeated the process again and again and again, adding a little drop more yellow, little drop more buff, just to lighten it but keep that nice warm tone and make those panels a little bit more faded, a little lighter, whilst always maintaining that initial basic same colour green. Near the end, I stuck in some deck tan from Tamiya just to kind of push that contrast that little bit more. I actually went a little bit overboard, but it's an easy fix. So yeah, like I said earlier, I'm an idiot. I added far too much deck tan to the mix, and on the final pass, the contrast was too much. It was too white for my taste, but I rectified it. I basically just knocked up a quick filter with a drop of green oil paint, quite a bit of thinners, and then just lightly applied it over the whole model, and it helped bring it back towards that green tint that I wanted. Then after the oil filter dried, I pushed the contrast that little bit more using the whole load of different MIG shaders, dark green, Starship Filth, Earth, Grime, I think. They're a little bit tricky to use at first. I haven't used them all too often, I don't quite know why, but once you get the hang of them, on a matte surface, quite low air pressure, they are really, really good, and I think I'll start using these quite often. I painted the mantlet cover in a khaki colour, you'll see in this bit of the video. I changed it because when I did it, it just didn't look right. So I changed it to a green and made it a slightly different tone to the rest of the tank, but I think green was a bit more accurate. I then went around with the lightest base tone that I used to paint the tank and just painted in some of the raised details to make them stand out a little bit, just to help that contrast a little bit more. Things like grab handles, flat raised surfaces, things like that. And that's basically it. I've got myself to a point where I've got an excellent bed to start weathering on and still continue to pump those contrasts and shades up with things like dot filters and pin washers and stuff in the next part. I'm going to be adding things like mud and stuff as well to it and showing you how I go about rusting the tracks up and everything like that. So I look forward to seeing you in that one. And I hope I've helped at least one person out there. And as always, don't forget to stick a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to help it grow. Thanks, and bye-bye.